All of us are suffering from some sort of imperfection. Maybe we should start succeeding in spite of them. Hey, Vedant here. I believe that there are two types of imperfections. Let's discuss them and see if there's a solution. Starting off with external imperfections.
Oh my god, bro.
Oh, hell no, man. What the fuck, man?
There's something I'd like to refer to as aesthetic imperfection. It is any kind of imperfection that you feel that makes you unattractive. A lot of people nowadays suffer from this thing called body dysmorphia. But what is the cause? It is a multifaceted issue.
I have to interject for a moment. Only 95% of you are not subscribed, so subscribe now. Thank you for all the support. I've included a doc file in the description as a gift, which will give you access to a list of the best book recommendations.
I believe that one of the major causes is obviously social media. You're exposed to so many perfect people on these websites. 99.9% of these are fake or edited in some way, shape, or form. There's the 50-year-old woman who keeps thinking that they are fat. They have gotten chubbier over time, but that's not necessarily true. They always try to pose differently and try different lighting to post their images onto Instagram, but which is not the right practice. I think you should accept that you have become a bit chubbier over time, and you should work on it if you have the time to work on it. You should not necessarily think, oh, I'm getting fat, haha, let's just make jokes on it. It's not correct. You should honestly work on it. And I myself have some imperfections that I have to accept, and you might have some imperfections that you have to accept as well. It's from something internal, and we'll get to that later in the video. We also have functional imperfections. Not being able to breathe after eating something with nuts in it. It must be difficult to deal with. Genetics and external factors play a major role in these aspects. Speaking of genetics, athleticism is also linked to genetics, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you can't be athletic. Even with bad genetics, you just might not have the potential to be the best. But let's put all of that aside for a moment. Just push it to the end of the table. What's on the surface is tied to the material world. Let's shift our focus to the internal world. It or not, your brain has limits. Cognitive limits, that is. The brain can only handle so much. Most people can't even truly multitask. A lot of us can't even lock in without getting a cup of coffee in the morning. Let's move over to the spiritual limits. I believe that there are no limitations to spiritual growth. Some of us are gifted with great amount of clarity and focus. Some of us have to work for it. The bottom line is this is an area that allows infinite growth. Yet ironically, it is the most unachievable form of perfection. We have emotional limits. A lot of it stems from childhood trauma. Luckily, emotional trauma can be worked on with the help of therapy, self-care, and self-help. You might be thinking, is it over for me? No, it's not. Am I too stupid for this? Humans don't have a quantifiable amount of intellect. IQ tests are a scam, they measure arbitrary skills and fail to consider the scope of the mental capabilities of a person. I believe that you can learn just about anything by building a strong, good foundation for it, by hook or by crook. I am very insecure about X and Y. How do I get rid of these imperfections? You have got it all wrong, man. It isn't about fixing yourself. It's a lot more about seeing things from a different perspective. Acceptance. The last thing you should do is cope. Accepting your imperfections is pretty straightforward, but it's very daunting. All you have to do is acknowledge your imperfections and work on them. Step two of that isn't even necessary. If you're insecure about your physique, the last thing you wanna do is laugh it off. You're better off accepting it and building good habits that will eventually lead to your desired outcome. I have a lot of friends who do not like to talk about this stuff and think it's kind of cringe or edgy to joke about them. So, fat shaming is a real thing, and as much as I hate to admit it, I have fat shamed some of my friends in the past. And now, as a better person, I've realized that I might have caused them a lot of problems by doing that. But the thing is, you should be non judging to yourself as well. You should accept that you have become a bit chubbier, which is fine, and then you should work on it. You should not necessarily take the failures of the past into account and just keep iterating over and over again. Even if you don't get the correct output that you want, you should still go through the process again. So if you fail at the becoming skinnier, which is the goal of a lot of people, you should not necessarily think, oh, I've done this in the past and it did not work out. You should do it. What's stopping you from doing it again, right? And that's the thing that most people suffer with. To refer to a Marcus Aurelius passage here, where he mentions that nature is full of imperfections, and imperfections add beauty to it. So if you notice bread, right, it has those cracks on it, that is actually an imperfection, right? But it looks beautiful. It doesn't matter if it's an imperfection to the bread, but it looks beautiful from an outside perspective, right? So if you go and see a monument or a special wonder of the world, you might see that there are cracks there, right? But the cracks actually add on to how old that monument is and how long it has stood with the testament of time. So imperfections are not bad. You have to just accept it and move on. You should work on it. Capable of introspection at a deep level is key to improvement in all sectors, physical and incorporeal. Spiritual growth is the key to acceptance. This is something that anyone can work on. And to thank Aryan for giving me the script to actually talk about this, and he has written this wonderful script. I'll have his YouTube channel in the description. He will post some content later on there as well. Anyways, I've been yapping for quite a while now. Just click all the buttons, like, share, subscribe. And as of recording this video right now, we have hit 69 subscribers. We are still like 1.5 million subscribers behind the Fit and Fresh podcast. We actually closed the gap by 7,000 subscribers this month, which is pretty amazing. They lost like 7,000 subscribers. And hey, play the outro. How the fuck do we have less subscribers than the Fit and Fresh podcast? Subscribe to overtake.